If there's one motorcycle that we've all been waiting for Hero MotoCorp to launch in the country, it has to be the XPulse 200. The wait has been really long. In fact, it's been about a year and a half since this motorcycle first broke cover at the 2017 Milan Motor Show in Italy. But the wait is finally over now, as the XPulse 200 and its rode by a sibling, the XPulse 200T, both are on sale in the country now. And unless you've been living on another planet, you would certainly know the fact that this motorcycle is pegged as one of the most affordable adventure tourers in the country and has been developed with a lot of help from CS Santosh, who is Hero MotoCorp's star Dakar rider. And what better place to experience the XPulse than the Big Rock Dirt Park near Bangalore, which is the home ground for CS Santosh.
It may have been unveiled to the world in Milan in 2017, but the XPulse 200 was first showcased in India at the 2018 Auto Expo, and in that sense, it is a motorcycle that we have seen before. The round LED headlamp looks retro, especially with its chrome bezel, but houses a full LED setup. The smoked fly screen above the headlight might have looked out of place in images, but in the flesh, it complements the bike's face well. Most importantly, in keeping with the fact that it is meant to be a hardcore adventure tourer, the XPulse 200 gets a lot of elements that clear its intent, like the gaiters on the long travel forks, a motocross-style mudguard, proper metal bash plate, 21-inch front wheel, spoke trims, and a high-mounted exhaust too. The XPulse thus has a very appealing stance, especially from the rear three-quarter, and while its design may have received mixed reactions from enthusiasts, I personally like its styling as the bike looks purposeful and very distinctive. Then there's the fully digital instrument cluster, which is split into two. The larger section of the display offers regular information, while the smaller section offers turn-by-turn navigation. Yes, the XPulse 200 is the first Indian motorcycle to offer onboard navigation. Hero has launched its own smartphone app called the Hero Ride Guide, which lets you sync your phone to the bike via Bluetooth, which again is a first for an Indian motorcycle, and once connected, you can choose your destination on the app, which will relay turn-by-turn directions on the instrument cluster. Moving on, the XPulse 200T looks identical to its more hardcore sibling at first glance, but gets a few significant visual changes. It does not get the fly screen, the metal bash plate, or the rubber gaiters on the forks. Its suspension travel and ground clearance are lesser too, but more importantly, the 200T runs on 17-inch wheels, which make it look a lot shorter.
We've known for a while now that the XPulse 200 is powered by the same air-cooled 200cc single-cylinder engine that also powers the Extreme 200. And in this case, it offers 18.4 PS and 17.1 Newton meters. But interestingly, and obviously, Hero has altered the gearing, and this bike runs a bigger rear sprocket. Obviously, the intent is to make the gearing shorter so as to suit the off-road purpose better.
The shorter first gear helps when riding slowly around trails, but when riding fast on dirt, it feels a little too short and the bike is quick to hit the rev limiter. Hero has launched the XPulse 200 with fuel injection, but the XPulse 200T uses a carburetor instead. The precise feeling from the fuel injection system helps when riding off-road, as it offers impressive throttle control, but I would have liked the engine to rev slightly quicker too. In comparison, the 200T's engine offers good responses as well despite being carbureted, and its slightly taller gearing feels better too. Engine performance from the 200cc single is adequate, be it on dirt or on tarmac, but there were quite a few times in both conditions when I wanted some more power from the engine. At the same time, I have to also mention the fact that the engine performance being just about right makes sure that the XPulse does not scare you on dirt, as you can easily anticipate the outcome of opening the throttle, which should help novice riders get acquainted with riding on dirt easily.
The engine on the 200T is in the exact same state of tune as the XPulse 200, but the gearing is slightly different as this motorcycle runs a slightly smaller rear sprocket. Now, I would have expected that to translate to a slightly higher top speed on the highway, but that's not really the case.
The XPulse 200 was consistently clocking 6 to 8 kmph more than the 200T on highways and was thus able to stretch its legs better. But with that said, for motorcycles positioned as touring machines, I would have liked a slightly higher top speed for both bikes, as that would have made for slightly higher cruising speeds on longer rides. We did not get a chance to ride either motorcycle in traffic conditions though, and it remains to be seen how good the strong mid-range punch will make the bikes feel in urban conditions, which will also be a typical domain for them.
There's a noticeable difference between the seat heights for the XPulse 200 and the 200T. The XPulse obviously has you sit higher, given its seat height of 823 mm, which is significantly higher than the 799mm seat height of the XPulse 200T. But I do like the seating position on both. It's quite similar to each other thanks to the flat handlebar, the mid-set footrest, which make for an upright posture, and this feels comfortable to ride all day long. But for the purpose, I would have also liked a slightly more comfortable seat. As you would expect, the XPulse 200 runs a different chassis and a different suspension setup as compared to the XPulse 200T. Now this motorcycle is meant to go off-road, that's why it's got a higher ground clearance, 190mm of travel for the front forks, 170mm of travel for the rear monoshock. Now that's definitely higher than the 130mm up front and 110mm at the rear offered by the XPulse 200T. But most importantly, this motorcycle runs a 21-inch front wheel, which is what really helps this bike go off-road. And goes without saying, the XPulse 200 comes shod with off-road worthy C8 tires, whereas the XPulse 200T, it gets MRF rubber at both ends.
And as you would expect, the XPulse 200 impressed with its handling of tarmac. The 21-inch front wheel offers lots of confidence by plowing into dirt, aided by the grip from the tires. Going fast on dirt is easy, as the XPulse is a motorcycle you understand and get used to quickly. The long travel suspension soaks up ruts, bumps and pretty much everything without upsetting the motorcycle, which is really impressive. In fact, given its ground clearance and the 220mm of suspension travel, the XPulse 200 feels like a proper dirt bike and has no trouble jumping off ramps and getting airborne. The suspension had no trouble taking all the beating, and the bike also landed safely after every jump, offering a very confident feel. Hero has equipped the XPulse 200 with a single-channel ABS system for the front wheel only, which works well on tarmac as well as off it, and in fact, not having ABS on the rear wheel makes sliding the bike around extremely easy. In comparison, the 200T feels more like a street bike, as its suspension travel is the same as the Extreme 200R, and so are its wheels and tires. The setup allows the 200T to feel more confident around corners, and it also feels more stable at highway speeds thanks to its road bias setup.
And it's finally time now to answer the big question. Has the Hero XPulse 200 been worth the wait? Well, if you were to ask me, my answer is a resounding yes. I really like how engaging this motorcycle feels off tarmac, be it when riding on trails or going fast on dirt, as there's a lot of confidence offered by the chassis and the suspension setup. That 21-inch front really lets you dig into the dirt and lets you ride fast without getting scared. In fact, in my opinion, this is a great motorcycle to hone your off-road riding skills on. I would have liked some more power from the engine, but with that said, the performance does feel adequate for somebody upgrading, say, from a 150cc motorcycle. The build quality is impressive, and despite all the battering we've put it through, the XPulse has come out with flying colors, and it is a motorcycle that feels like it's built to last.
Of course, I cannot end the review without talking about the bike's price. The 200T has been launched at Rs 94,000 ex-showroom, while the hardcore XPulse 200 retails at Rs 97,000 ex-showroom for the carbureted version and Rs 1.05 lakh ex-showroom for the fuel-injected version. And these are excellent prices, especially when you consider the XPulse 200's equipment levels and serious go-anywhere abilities.